Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome to the video. So in this video, I'm going to be going over 3 stocks I'm looking to buy and trade this upcoming week. If you are new here, each week I talk about a couple stocks that I think are going to be going up in the short term. I give my thesis on it, my reason why I think it's going to be going up. I give my stop loss level, my target level, and just everything behind the trade of what I'm personally doing. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you to buy or sell anything. I'm just sharing my personal ideas and what I'm personally doing. Alright, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into last week's picks, how this performed, and then we'll take a look at this week's picks. Let's get into it. So first up, last week we talked about Walgreens Boots Alliance, ticker symbol WBA. This one got taken down more along with the market this past week. It was overall down about 3% on the week. My thesis is still the same on this trade. I think it's still a big overreaction sell-off from those great earnings results. If anything's going to benefit from this recent spike in the new COVID cases, it's going to be WBA with an uptick in demand for COVID testing. So we'll see how that plays out. I personally have that tight stop loss if this $46 support does not hold. So we'll see how it performs this coming week. I personally do still expect to bounce back in this play. Next up, we talked about Alibaba, ticker symbol BABA. We talked about the setup on the weekly chart with all these support levels coming together along with that 200-week moving average. It did bounce more off these levels this past week, up about 3% on the week. It still looks great here, and I personally expect a lot more upside to come in this play. And finally, we talked about SNPR, which is going to be the merger with Volta Charging. It is a SPAC right now. So this past week, it was down about 0.5%. With these SPACs, they have an option to redeem your shares at $10 before the merger goes through. So essentially, these stocks can drop below $10, but they will not drop far. The lowest SNPR has gone, for example, is $9.85. And if you are buying these below that $10 level, that means you can redeem your shares for $10. So it's pretty much a guaranteed 1% return or so from this current level. I personally added on this dip. I love the company. If it does hold around this 10 level, I will probably end up redeeming shares at the redemption date. But moving from here on this stock likely depends on the overall market sentiment with SPACs. Right now, most SPACs took a dip this past week. So if the market bounces back and growth plays bounce back, SPACs can bounce back. If not, it'll probably stay around this $10 level. And it may be smart to redeem shares at the redemption date, which is not yet out, but we should be getting an update on that date soon. Alright, so there's the update from last week. Let's go ahead and get into this week's picks. So the first stock that I'm liking a lot this coming week is Voyager Digital, ticker symbol VYGVF. So this is a hyper growth company right now, a crypto brokerage. It's up big on the year, but is also down 30% in just the past 5 days, which I personally think is an overreaction, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But overall, the technical setup on this play is lining up for a bounce. The valuation is super cheap at this level in my opinion, and this is a stock that I'm looking to be adding heavy at current prices. So first up, taking a look at the technical setup on this stock, it has now trended down and pulled back right to this 200-day moving average support, which is that pink line on my chart. It also is testing the support levels right at $11.50, the first support, and then also the support right at $10 per share. So that's the range that I'm looking for a balance from this stock. I'm starting to buy in this $11 range. I added my starter position on Friday. And it's also oversold on the daily chart RSI, the first time that it's been oversold like this in the past year. So in my opinion, it's likely for a lot of these buyers to start coming in with this stock sitting at support levels, sitting at the 200-day moving average, and oversold right here. So this is a stock that I do think is very likely for a bounce in this range. So Voyager also did come out with earnings on Thursday afternoon. They had some killer growth numbers on this report. So they had revenue growth in just the past quarter of 65%, and they're expecting their fourth quarter revenues to be between $103 and $107 million. Their funded accounts grew 146% in just the previous quarter. So in a 3-month span, they more than doubled their accounts, and also their verified users grew 75% from the previous quarter to over 1.75 million. In this report, the CEO was also saying that the overall crypto market has seen a big decrease in volume since mid-June, which has been known as Bitcoin has essentially consolidated in that $30,000 range. So they were also saying that during all this low volume and less interest in the crypto market, their business and app is still seeing significant net new funded account growth, net asset inflows, and consistent trading revenue on their platform. So overall, this is a great sign for the Voyager platform. As the interest in crypto has declined, there hasn't been as much hype behind Bitcoin and the other crypto assets as everything was pretty much going to the moon. Now it has trended down, seen a big pullback. And during all that, and now that all that has passed, Voyager is still continuing their hyper growth stages as a company. So that is a great sign that Voyager is not just a product of the Bitcoin hype, even when hype dies down, when crypto trading volume dies down as well. Voyager is still growing, so not just a product of that hype. They're a legit business that is not fully dependent on just the hype behind the crypto market. So a couple more upcoming catalysts for Voyager is they're expected to launch their loyalty program in September and also Voyager's payment processing capabilities. Additionally, they also repurchased 247,500 shares in the open market, which is a great sign for a healthy business. As companies buy back their shares, that make their existing shares more valuable because they're a higher percentage of the business. Alright, and after seeing those revenue numbers and those expectations, taking a look at some fundamentals behind Voyager, the market cap is sitting at $1.69 billion. So a little bit of quick math here. In their fourth quarter, they're expected revenues to be between $103 and $107 million. Now let's totally underestimate their business. Let's say it stays in that revenue range for all of 2022 as well. So we'll say $100 million per quarter, which would come out to be $400 million per year in revenue. And that is totally discounting their growth. They likely grow that revenue double by 2022 if they do keep up the rate that they are growing. So in that scenario, they're going to have about $400 million in revenue for the year while having a market cap at about $1.7 billion. We can estimate, and that would be about a price to sales ratio of 4, which is super cheap for a hyper growth company to begin with, and that is not even counting the future growth that they will have. Of course, a lot depends on the crypto market, on how much growth and how quick this growth continues, but they have proven this past quarter that even with the crypto market declining, their business is still growing rapidly and revenues are picking up as well. So this company has some big things going for it right now. Very cheap valuation for a hyper growth company. They have a very healthy balance sheet as well with $125 million in cash and only about $60 million in debt, so double cash compared to debt. The Voyager app is one of the top ranked crypto apps on the App Store. They provide some of the best interest rates on crypto, commission-free trading, and overall this valuation is just way too tempting. The technicals are coming together for a balance. So this is one that I'm currently buying in the 11 range. I'll buy more if it hits 10, buy more if it hits 9. But I personally do expect a bounce off this 11. I would not be surprised if we see it back to that 13 to 14 range in the next 1 to 2 weeks. So that's what I'm personally looking for on this trade. If you want to play it safe, a good place for a stop loss would be if this $11.50 level does not end up holding, or if it dropped below 10, depending on your risk tolerance, how close you want your stop loss to be. First target on this one would be 14. Long-term target on this trade, I think the stock hits new highs pretty easily in the long term. In the midterm, I think it could easily get back to $20 plus, depending on the crypto market. There's also a decent chance that this stock could go down more if the crypto market does go down. So I'd be keeping an eye on Bitcoin and Aterian and all those main crypto assets that could influence the price of Voyager. But overall, right now, I think this valuation is too cheap to pass up, and I'm personally buying at this level. Alright, so now getting to the next stock I'm looking at this upcoming week. This is Aterian, ticker symbol ATER. So this is another one of these hyper growth companies that has a market cap a little bit under 400 million. Taking a look at the technical setup, we can see that this stock has been on a huge downtrend ever since it hit those big highs at almost $50 per share, hit a high right at $49. So first off, this is a falling knife stock. This is not a stock that I am in right now, and I want to see confirmed bottom before getting in. But the next levels of support that I'm looking at for a good chance of a balance is about that $10 and $9.50 levels. I think if it hits those levels, it's very likely for a bounce. It's also oversold here on the daily and 4-hour charts. And overall, this stock is going to be due for a big bounce back soon, in my personal opinion. So taking a look real quick at what the Aterian business model is Aterian builds, acquires, and partners with brands. They have a software to get their products ranked at the top of Amazon, for example, and also a great supply chain. So here's a couple examples of the companies that Aterian has acquired. So they are some of these smaller brand names in niche categories, but if you look on Amazon or search data, a lot of these are ranking at the top of their categories in a platform like Amazon, for example. And their business model is to acquire more and more of these companies. They're still in their hyper growth stage as a company, trying to grow their revenue and company numbers as fast as possible. So a couple months ago in May, they reported their first quarter results. So their net revenue numbers grew 88% year over year to 48.1 million. And the company also recently raised their 2021 net revenue outlook range to $360 to $390 million. And keep in mind, this is about a $395 million company. That's a price to sales ratio right at about 1, which once again is very cheap for a hyper growth company. They increased their gross margins to over 50%. And since they are still in their hyper growth stages, acquiring more and more companies, their operating loss did increase to 27.8 million. So this company is still losing money as of right now, just because they're trying to grow as quick as possible. And as of this report in May, they were holding 35 million in cash. It is now up because about 1 month ago, they did announce having an offering, which raises money for the company. They raised $40 million by selling about 2.6 million shares to institutions who got this offering at a price of $15 per share. So you're already getting a discount to what the institutions paid for this company at $15 per share. it is now trading at $10 per share. So that's a big discount of where institutions were buying this stock at. And one more recent positive catalyst is they did announce their addition to the Russell 2000 index about a month ago. So like I was saying, this market cap is about 395 million, price to sales at 1.1 right now. And that is while they're growing their revenues 80% year over year, which is a very intriguing valuation for a growth stock that is growing this much. It has a pretty large short float as well at 19.78%. Shorts are going to want to cover soon, take their profits in my opinion. So what I'm doing on this trade is I'm waiting for a confirmed bottom, since it is a falling knife right now and it could have more downside if the market does go down some more. So I'm waiting on the sidelines for now, watching this stock closely. I want to see a confirmed bottom and reversal before getting in this stock. Watching that $9.50 to $10 range as a potential entry at support for a reversal potentially up back towards that $15 to $20 range, which is a more reasonable valuation for this company in my personal opinion, but I am not in this yet, waiting for a confirmed bottom on this trade. Alright, so now getting to the next stock I'm looking at this coming week. This is Virgin Galactic, ticker symbol SPCE. So of course, I'm sure everybody knows what happened last week with this stock. They had that hugely successful space flight by Richard Branson, but it turned into a sell the news event, and SPCE was down almost 50% overall on the week. Now you could attribute this drop from the offering news, from the overall just sell the news scenario with this stock, or you could just say the company is overvalued fundamentally. They're not going to be turning a profit in a very long time. Space flights is very niche. It's a totally unproven business. So when the market drops, stocks like this, speculative stocks, are going to be dropping a ton with it. So you could attribute to any of those things for this drop. But overall, a 50% drop does catch my eye as a potential bounce play. So let's take a look at the technicals and what we're looking at with this trade. So the stock was sitting at a high of over $50 on Monday and closed the week right at $30 per share. This is a key support level. It's also right at the 200-day moving average, which has a chance to act as support if it can bounce back over. And overall, with a stock like this, even if it does drop more, it's not going to go straight down. In my opinion, it needs a relief rally. It's going to need a bounce very soon. And I'm watching for that potential bounce off this $30 support level if it does end up holding. So like I was saying, even if the stock does go down more, it's not going to go in a straight line. It needs relief rallies, it needs bounces. And SPCE itself, it's kind of become a meme stock. It's very popular on Wall Street bets, on financial media as well. So in my opinion, I think Virgin Galactic is going to be due for a run very soon. Just for example, last week, AMC and GameStop, these are both meme stocks of course. They were getting hit and dropping in a big way recently. And take a look at what happened last week. First off, AMC in a big decline, but on Thursday, one of these days when it gets heavily oversold, buying interest comes back. It was due for a bounce and got that big bounce all the way from 30 up to 40 in just a single day, which was a 30% plus move just from that relief rally. Same with GameStop, it started moving back up on Thursday after hitting a low near 150. It had multiple bounces and hit a high on Friday close to $180 per share. So like I was saying, you can kind of group Virgin Galactic with these other meme stock names such as AMC and GameStop, and it is going to need to balance. If it does balance, likely a lot of buying interest is going to come in for the people wanting to ride the wave of the next run. So what I'm looking for in this stock is I'm looking for some balance to play out. I'm not in a position as of right now, but I do think this stock bounces early in the week, this coming week. This is likely going to be a day trade or a one-day swing trade for me. Just looking to play this quick bounce because when it does bounce, I think it's going to be a 10 to 20% bounce before potentially heading lower depending on the market conditions. So this will be a very quick trade for me, potentially looking for a bounce off that $30 level. So those are the three stocks I'm looking at this coming week. A quick recap is first off Voyager, ticker symbol VYGVF. Very cheap hyper-growth valuation from where it's sitting right now. In my opinion, this range from 10 to 11.50 is going to be setting up for a bounce. Next up, Aterian, ticker symbol ATER. Another heavily beat down growth name. I think it's going to be due for a bounce at current levels. The strong support level that I'm personally watching is at $9.50 to $10 range and waiting for a confirmed reversal before I potentially get in this trade. And then Virgin Galactic, ticker symbol SPCE, watching for a big bounce / relief rally on one day earlier this week. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If it did provide some value to you, make sure to hit that like button and that subscribe button. It does help me out a ton and I would greatly appreciate that. If you are interested in joining the private Discord chat, the link is down below as well. I send buy and sell alerts each time I buy and sell any stocks. I answer any questions you have. You have full access to my portfolio and my nightly watch lists. So that should be the first link in the description if you are interested. And thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to trade smart in this crazy market. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.